Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying-Model-Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk about the nerdy news that you need to know about. It's the only news that matters. It's good news. And on today's show,
EA leaves their customers stranded in the desert. Metal Sonic achieves his final form, and Sega needs you to defeat Sega?
But as you know, here at Model Behaviour, action figures always come first.
Or sometimes not at all.
I'm sorry, I'm literally running out of action figures. So let's talk about them. Before we get started, I have a massive thank you to give to friend of the show, RDJ Customs. Dude, you're just the gift that keeps on giving. Everyone always asks me, where did I get my Spider-Man No More Trash Can from? It was from that man himself, who you can contact on Instagram for all of your diorama needs. This isn't like a sponsored thing. He was just like, dude, love the show. Here, have some free stuff. Didn't ask for a plug or a shout out or anything, but I want to give it because credit where it's due, and I really appreciate the kind gesture. So the Spider-Man No More Trash Can, we got a British, beautiful British post box. That's terrific. I just wish, dude, I wish you'd sent that to me like a year ago. I would have used it in all of my reviews. I'm moving now. I don't think I'm going to take my diorama with me, so don't worry, it'll get used in the future. And an amazing mailbox as well, US mail, just with all the graffiti on it. A little Dave there as well. Not technically accurate because I would never tag public property. Just, that's not model behavior. But still, they look amazing. So RDJ Customs, man, I'm so excited. I'm spitting on myself. I'm not going to edit that. Thank you so much. And everyone, if you want some awesome Dio pieces, go check him out. And I get 10%. Nah, I don't. But I should do. Today is a super heavy DC day. McFarlane, they're working overtime. There's not that much toy news going on at the moment. It's kind of slim pickings out there, but any excuse to make a video, am I right or am I right? I don't need an excuse, I'll make a video about anything. Coming up, potatoes. What's the deal with them? No, we haven't got that desperate yet, especially because McFarlane keeps cranking out more DC figures. First of all, oh my goodness, we've got ourselves a Batman Dark Detective DC Future State brackets Jokerized Target exclusive. And look, it's McFarlane DC, so of course they're going to make a bajillion different Batmen, but this is kind of a cool variant. It reminds me big time of the kind of Jokerized graffitied suit that was in Batman vs. Superman, where it's all been Jokerfied and messed up. Kind of similar there, but I mean, there's been loads of different Jokerized versions of Batman in the past, and this is another one, but it does look kind of cool. I like the fact that they've gone a little bit outside the box, on the box, with some more Joker graffiti on the box to mix it up, make it look a bit different, a bit more interesting. This is available to pre-order on the Target website now, and honestly, I kinda dig it. If you're not a completionist, but if you just want to get one little figure here or there, this is a cool, fun, funky looking Jokerized Batman. So even though I'm never gonna go, Todd, you made a new Batman figure, well done, how very brave of you. I gotta admit, I kind of like the look of this one. He's not slowing down though, because now we're getting into Flashpoint territory, and how appropriate with the biggest Super Bowl trailer to land. We now have a Flashpoint Superman, Project Superman. I haven't read Flashpoint, but I've seen the animated movie, which is an absolute banger. If you've not seen it, especially if you're like a casual DC person, go watch it, because it's really good. And in that story, Superman was captured by the government when he landed on Earth. Didn't end up with the Kents, he was just thrown straight into a lab for studying. And because of that, he's not been exposed to the sun, and he's all weak and withered, and it's a very cool, character, not arc, but sort of story, basically, how that all pans out in Flashpoint. So yeah, this is a weak, skinny Superman, but kind of fun. So I wonder, do we have Batman's dad, don't we? They've done a McFarlane version of him. So Thomas Wayne, that's who I was trying to think. So if they're building out a bit of a Flashpoint kind of display, I sort of dig that, and definitely, it's very, very topical right now. More on that later. And also, as part of this wave, which is the Cyborg Builder Wave, forgot to mention that, we're getting an Impulse figure as well, who's like not like a sidekick. Again, I'm not going to pretend to talk about stuff that I don't know about. Actually, I don't pretend, I just do that. But yeah, Impulse, like, he's another speedster, a more kid type Flash. And it's kind of a cool design. Reminds me, like, it's very 90s. And I love the fact that McFarlane are really going hard on the 90s with things like Eradicator, Cyborg Superman, Superboy, Azrael Batman. That's awesome. That sings to my childhood right there. So I like the look of Impulse. He's kind of cool. I feel like he looks a bit too big though. I would expect more of a smaller, more youthful looking body, but I'm not a DC expert, so maybe that is actually more accurate. But for you fans of The Flash out there, let me know. Because I feel like Marvel Legends, they succeed a bit more sometimes with the more nimble looking bodies. I always feel the DC McFarlane ones, they look a bit kind of blocky and a little bit awkward. So something a bit more agile, I think, would work better for him. But that's just me with my eyes and my preconceived notions there. But nonetheless, I think he does look kind of fun. And then wrapping up the toy news, yeah, like this is a quick one today. Yamaguchi Revoltech. I always want to say Revoltech because why would you want to have the word revolting in your brand name? But there you go. Revoltech showed off a whole bunch of their upcoming products at a winter display fair recently, and there's some good looking stuff. First of all, Moon Knight. Moon Knight looks terrific. We showed a little sneaky peeky preview image the other day. Now we got the full reveal, and I got to say, we got the Marvel Legends Moon Knight, we got the Mezco Moon Knight, but this, whether or not you like the Revoltech style, your mileage is going to vary, because they are unusual. But man, I do just love the proportions, the look of this guy, the armored kind of style. I think he looks badass. I really, really do. I wouldn't be tempted to get him because I love my Mezco Moon Knight. Mwah, chef's kiss. He's always going to be a keeper, but this does look good. When Revoltech hit it in just the right way, they can make some magic. And also, I love the fact that those Revoltech figures, they're kind of like a Rubik's Cube. Like, yeah, you can get them in the most incredible poses, but you really do have to like twist and turn and angle and play about with them in certain orders to make everything fit together, which is actually kind of the fun. And speaking of fun,
I know, I realized it too. I forgot to mention the Spider-Man. Do you want to tell them about it? I'll tell him. I'll tell him. You can't like form words. So what it was, I forgot that they also revealed the Spider-Man International costume, which is essentially the regular Spider-Man costume, but it's got like a glowing spider emblem. And you're not interested, are you? He's got a glowing spider emblem, and like the red goes up the legs a little bit more. That's about it. But Revoltech, they do make a mean Spider-Man, and this looks kind of cool. So yeah, all the good things I said about Moon Knight, you can apply those to Spider-Man as well. With the crazy articulation, he's going to look amazing in those web-slinging type poses. So yeah, honestly, do I need the advanced suit? No, not in the slightest. Do I kind of want it because it would be a badass Spider-Man? Yeah, definitely.
They've got a lot more coming out as well. We got another couple of pictures of Flash and Reverse Flash. This is going to be a Flash-heavy episode. And yeah, again, they both look great. I'm not a DC guy, but even I just aesthetically can look at them and be like, man, those are a good aesthetic-looking pair of action figures right there. Aesthetic, one word that I will never be able to remember how to spell. I always have to look it up, but it is a good word, especially when describing these guys who look terrific. I love how sinister and smarmy and just how much of a douche Reverse Flash looks. And then, yeah, classic Wally West, or is it Barry Allen? Sorry, showing my ignorance. But regardless, both of those guys look aces. They also had a few other items on display as well. Some from My Hero Academia and also from Monster Hunter. I'm not too familiar with those franchises though, so I can't really sort of speak on them, besides the fact that they look very elaborate. By the way, almost forgot. These photos came courtesy of Isaac Wong. They were posted on tninews.com. Is it .com? I think it's .com. Either way, go and check them out. I keep forgetting, like straight up. I forget to give credit to stuff. And it's not because I don't mean to. It's just because I'm scatterbrained. So yeah, check out TNI News for the source of those pictures. And thank Isaac Wong when you bump into him next time. So yeah, they look cool. They also showed a Gamera as well. The Japanese kaiju, and this looked like it was just instantly just sculpted out of the clay. Like, this must be as early a prototype as you can get, but still looked pretty impressive. So yeah, Revoltech. I'm going to call them Revoltech. It just feels better to me. They have some very, very exciting stuff coming out. Alright, this is the big one now. Film and TV, it's the Super Bowl, which is a sport of some sort, but the important thing is that in between the boring bits, we get movie trailers such as The Flash. Finally, we get to see what all the brouhaha is all about, and basically, Warner Brothers know what they're doing. You got to give the people what they want, and what we want is Michael Keaton's Batman, and lo and behold, there he is. And I assume they've done some de-aging. I mean, Michael Keaton, he's aging well. He really is. He looked like a boss in, as the Vulture in No Way Home, but still, I don't know if they might have done some trickery. It's difficult to tell. Batman wears a mask. But nonetheless, he just has the aura of Batman. But also, one thing I noticed from the trailer that I think personally for myself is that so much of Michael Keaton's Batman is the Tim Burton aesthetic and direction. So seeing that Batman and that portrayal outside of the ultra gothic Tim Burton kind of setting, it's going to be a little bit unusual. So it's not going to be like watching classic 1989 Batman. It is a new version of an old thing. But I kind of dig that. And I didn't realize how much this Flash movie was going to go in Flashpoint territory. And I don't know exactly what the story is going to be, but we've got two different Batmen. We got Ben Affleck's Batman back. I didn't realize he was going to be in it. Good to see Ben Affleck still kicking around. Although I'm guessing this might be the last time we see this version of Batman, but nice that Ben Affleck might get a swan song there. And then, of course, we get what looks like Project Superman. But is it Clark or is it a different Kryptonian? I don't know. Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy for DC info here. But what I will say, though, is this has my attention. Oh, and the Zod stuff as well. Because basically that's the thing. Flash changes the timeline by mistake, and therefore there are no metahumans on Earth. And when Zod shows up, he's like, well, looks like this planet's mine now. And that's kind of interesting. Unless that's just like a bit of the story. And there's a whole load else that I don't know about. Well, actually, I'll guarantee you there's a whole load else that I don't know about. But judging from that trailer alone, I'm actually pretty excited. But that wasn't all. We also got a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer, and I have not watched it because I don't want to, because I'm really looking forward to that film, and I'm sick and tired of every movie trailer showing me everything before the movie even comes out. So you know what? Nothing to say. I'm just pumped for that movie, and I'm glad that I haven't seen too much from it. Speaking of showing everything, we got a Fast X trailer. The end begins. They're like, don't worry guys, we're gonna milk this cash cow for a while. This isn't the last movie. This is the start of the end, at which point we'll probably end and then start a new thing. But basically anyone who has ever been in any Fast and the Furious movie is coming back for this one, except Dwayne Johnson. By the looks of things, I know there was always a scuttlebutt and a brouhaha between him and, I was gonna say Vin Diesel. Was Vinny Jones ever in Fast and the Furious? He should have been. I don't think he was, but I feel like he should have been. Oi! I'm gonna steal a car now! That's my Vinny Jones there. But yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. I need to binge watch 9 Fast and the Furious movies. Not that you need to catch up on the intricate plot, but I'd kind of like to do that. Maybe make a little video series out of it. Maybe do it on Patreon. Go and subscribe to the Patreon. But yeah, it looks fun, but I feel like I've seen the whole movie now. I know everything that happens. Even the post-trailer little sting shows another reveal, and it's that probably would have been a big pop in the cinema, but everyone knows it now. But there you go, that's the name of the game these days. And also, glancing down at my notes, we got another Transformers Beast Wars trailer, which actually didn't show anything sort of particularly new, but I am looking forward to it. It's still got a bit of a Michael Bay stink, but it's building on the good work of Bumblebee. So that's good to hear. Although I don't know how sort of original the plot's going to be, because it's all,
Optimus Prime, you are going to face an enemy the likes of which you have never faced before.
And then it's really? Is it a big robot? Yeah? Yeah, what do they want to do? Do they want to conquer Earth? I think we've faced this enemy a few times, to be honest, guys. But that notwithstanding, they showed a whole bunch of the new beast forms. There's like a cheetah, a rhino, I know it's Rhinox, yeah? Cheetor? Not Chitara, that's Thundercats. But yeah, there was a bird one as well. The designs look really pretty. Really pretty. So I'm down to clown with this. And then finally, the other one that just kind of piqued my interest a little bit was the new Indiana Jones trailer as well, which was very short. But it just showed a lot of indie being indie. And that's what we like to see. Because I know some people were very worried about, oh, a woman's going to come in and is going to ruin Indiana Jones and he's going to be replaced by a woman. No one who watches this channel said that. I just want to make that very clear. You guys are all cool. You're all on my cool list. But other people, you know, the ones who watch other channels were like, oh, the woman's going to replace Indiana Jones. No, she's not. It's just another character. And she pops up at the end. And guess what? She's not making Indiana Jones look like an old idiot, you know, like useless man. She actually turns up and is a bit of a goofball. Who would have thought? Yeah, sometimes I guess you just have to wait and see the movie before making an assumption. Again, this isn't to you. This is to other people who watch other channels. But, you know, they better recognize. So, yeah, there were some cool looking Super Bowl trailers. There you go. Over in comics, just a fun, random little thing. Screen Rant had an article about the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book. And, like, I always have a bit of fondness for Sonic because it's the 90s. It's my growing up, you know? And one of the coolest villains is, of course, Metal Sonic. And in the Total Chaotic storyline, which runs from issue number 53 to 58 of Sonic the Comic, we are introduced to Emperor Metallix, who is the ultimate form of Metal Sonic. You know me, you watch this channel long enough, what do I love? Evil doppelgangers, robot clones, all that kind of thing. So Metal Sonic, even in a goofy kids thing like Sonic the Hedgehog, I just think it's badass. And it's a whole kind of multiversal kind of thing where he's got other Metal Sonics working for him and like he is the ultimate realization of the evil Metal Sonic incarnate of, you know, Emperor Metallix. Just thought that was kind of cool. Thought I'd share it with you. There you go. Over in video game news now, this is a kind of funny story, and I literally heard about it on the Kind of Funny podcast, so that works. It wasn't false advertising on their part. EA are promoting Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and one of the things they wanted to do was set up a scavenger hunt, where people had to go online and find all these clues, follow them around, and you would find an early advanced copy of the game that you can just have, like, congratulations, and other amazing Star Wars prizes as well. So the very first thing they posted was a picture of these two stormtroopers standing by this rock in the desert, and they thought, no one's going to get this. It's going to have to, you know, they'll see this, and then we'll post some more clues, and they'll all come together. Nah! A few people saw that rock and were like, I know exactly where that is because that is where they filmed Star Trek and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's actually a very famous rock in the desert, I think in Arizona. So the guy who called into the Kind of Funny podcast was like, yeah, I saw it. I knew exactly where it was, got in my Jeep, drove out there. And unfortunately for a large handful of people who instantly recognized that rock, EA did not expect anyone to figure it out that quickly. So everyone turned up to this blazing hot place in the desert and was just nothing there. and then they were waiting for hours in the midday sun as time ticked by and people turned up and then people left and they gathered and they dwindled until finally the guy who called into the show was like, I was the first one there and the last one. And then I left. So thank you, EA. EA just can't catch a break with themselves. I mean, this is the company that a couple of years ago was voted the worst company to work for in the world. And now they're like, hey, how can we win over some fans? Let's trick them into going into the desert. Gotta love them. Fortunately, no one, suffered from heat stroke, but they did lose several hours of their lives waiting for some free Star Wars swag that never turned up. And sticking with video game news, this is a bizarre one I really wanted to talk about. There is a mobile game being made by Sega called 404 Game Reset. And I think it's just based in Japan, but I love the story behind this. It's being scripted by the guy who wrote Nier Automata, which is a very cerebral, very introspective, mind-bending bit of sci-fi. And this is going to be set in a future alternative world where the company of Sega is an evil megalomaniacal corporation. So first of all, it's a Sega game in which Sega are the evil enemy, okay? And each of the classic Sega properties like Virtua Fighter, Afterburner, and several others are actually manifested in the form of cute anime girls who have to fight and overthrow and destroy the evil Sega corporation. I love how utterly bonkers that is. And I don't even know what type of game it is. I think being a mobile game, I think it's like a collectible battling card game type thing. I think that's the gist of it, because you can collect all these different anime girls that represent different classic Sega franchises, and hopefully if you all work together or if you play the game right, then you can destroy the evil company of Sega. Brought to you by Sega. Gotta love it. Over in random merchandise news, yeah, this is something I found just kind of fun. You might not know this about me. I love Coca-Cola. I shouldn't do, it's just sugar water garbage. But you know what? On a hot summer day, love me a nice cold can of Coke, and I'm not being sponsored by them. So when they do unusual or different kinds of flavors, I dig it. I like to check them out, and they're doing one right now. It is the Rosalia flavored Coke, which is, I don't even know, Rosalia is a singer of some description? My finger is not on the pulse of pop culture. But what I can tell you is that this is a brand of Coca-Cola that starts out tasting like raspberry and finishes off like bubblegum. And for me, I'm like, yeah, I could mess with that. Because that was always one of my favorite traditions when I was working in Japan, which I'm going to go back to, is that you would finish in the middle of a hot summer day, it's sweltering outside, you go to one of the vending machines, get yourself a nice can of Coke, and it's like, oh my god, that feels so good. So if I had a can of Coke that started out tasting like raspberry and ended up like bubblegum, I'd be down for that. So if you guys have tried that flavor, let me know. Let me know what you think, because I'm intrigued to hear what it tastes like. I'm guessing raspberry and bubblegum. Over in Cosplay Corner, I want to give a shout out to Dry Martini Cosplay. First of all, badass name, even if a dry martini is one of the most disgusting drinks I've ever had. Sorry, fight me on it. I don't get it. I don't get what flavor y'all are tasting, okay? But the flavor I'm getting from this Instagram page is badass cosplay, and more to the point, very outside the box kind of stuff as well. Have you ever wanted to see a sexy Skeletor? Nah, didn't think so. Well, you're about to. This lady kind of kills it. And again, like with the last person that I featured, body paint, a bit of creativity going on there. Slap a bit of paint on, happy days. Why am I selling model behavior t-shirts when I should just body paint it on? Maybe that's a Patreon exclusive. But yeah, this lady's fantastic. Got an Edward Scissorhands cosplay as well. I dig that. That's a little bit of a 90s nostalgia gem right there. But also one that I'm a big fan of. She found a big, I don't want to say Roy D. Magoo, because you know what? He may well be natty, bro. But she found a guy to do a Zangief and Chun-Li cosplay as well. And again, Street Fighter, you're hitting all the right nostalgia bones. So yeah, combining awesome photography with great makeup and just set pieces that she puts together. I'm real impressed with this one. Go give her a follow, because even if she's named after a drink that I'm not very fond of, she does do some very good cosplays. And finally, a little technology story that I really wanted to share with you because I thought this is so cool. Scientists have developed nanobiotics, which have cultivated a strain of spinach that can detect landmines in soil and send emails telling people where they are. The future is now, and it's so freaking cool. We're using nanotechnology, people, and we're integrating it with plants, and honestly, I am all for it. I'm a big sort of like nature, like Mother Earth type person, but at the same time, I'm also like a push the boundaries kind of person, because the only way we're going to save this planet is by pushing the science that's going to give us the answers we need. And the first one is putting nanobiotics in spinach. So let me just read you what this does exactly. MIT engineers experimented within a niche field of science known as plant nanobiotics. They discovered that spinach roots can detect the presence of nitroaromatics in groundwater, and these are compounds often found in explosives like landmines. And when they do, the carbon nanotubes within the plant leaves emit a signal. This signal can then be picked up by an infrared camera and send an email to alert scientists. I'm sorry, but that's just wicked. So double thumbs up to you crazy mad sons of biscuits out there who are programming nanotech into spinach plants and figuring out how to solve global problems like landmines. I mean, I know it's probably needs a little bit more workshopping to get, fully operational, but my goodness, it blows me away how clever people can be. And folks, that does it for Good News for today. A real mixed bag of stuff. You could tell that, I didn't have that much news, but I really wanted to make a show. And sometimes these things come into conflict, and other times they make beautiful music together. This, I think, is somewhere in the middle. So gang, what did you think about the stories covered today? Comment below, let me know. And if you like what you see here, if you like where you here, I'm not going to edit this. If you like what you see here, and you want to see more, then you know what you gotta do. You gotta join the 6-1 Clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe button. So guys, thank you so much for watching. And oh, that almost reminds me. People are literally being unsubscribed by YouTube without them asking for it to happen. I had a couple of Facebook and Instagram messages from people saying, oh, dude, heads up, I was unsubscribed and I didn't unsubscribe. So you might want to check those notifications because dang it, there must be a reason why I'm not at 100,000 subscribers. It can't be that I'm not that popular. It must be a conspiracy. So gang, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Cup of coffee. Big time.